So what we're going to do is we're going to have a cruise around the cruise. We're going to look at 6 different appellations today. Up in the north, Syrah and Viognier are the 2 star grape varieties in red and white respectively. And in the south, Grenache is really the mainstay of both the red and the white wines. So we are going to start with Saint-Joseph. And Saint-Joseph is a great appellation in the sense that it's both red and white, and it's quite diverse. So I think it's definitely a place to keep a watch on. Now, the majority of the wines here are red. About 90% of the production is red, but there are some wonderful white wines which are made from a blend of Marsanne and Roussanne. You can put a bit of that into the reds if you like, but the majority of the reds are made almost exclusively from Syrah. But the white wines from Marsanne and Roussanne tend to be very fresh, very crisp, very bright, but still have a sense of richness and fullness to them. Let's have a taste of the first wine, guys. So this wine is from the 2011 vintage, following on from 9 and 10, which were both wonderful vintages in the Northern Rhone for quite different reasons. 11 is a little bit more of a classic vintage. The wines are drinking really well relatively early. You see here there's that sort of slightly honeyed edges, slightly sort of white flower, floral sort of backdrop to the wine. This is a wine that really opens up very nicely. It's got great a great acidic backbone behind it. So when we talk about white wine, Condrieu is probably the appellation that you'll be most familiar with in Northern Rhone terms. Nowadays we have 167 hectares of Condrieu. This is called Galopine. It's a cuvée by Delas, and it's a blend of fruit from 3 different sites of the Viognier grape. And I think it's interesting that there is those 2 differences because, of course, Viognier is quite an alcoholic grape variety, and especially in warm vintages. 2009 is a recent example, and it's typically rich, isn't it? I mean, it has that weight, that depth, particularly for the whites over and above other vintages, because 10 had a freshness and a vitality to it with time in bottle, which this Condrieu certainly has the ability to do, I think. And 2010, for me, more so than 2009, is a really beautiful exhibition of what Condrieu is capable of. But it has the quality and the accessibility, I think, to impress wine drinkers at all levels of their journey. So this wine is aged in 50% new oak. In 2010, this is a really rich and broad example that still has got that bite that you need. Right, Rasteau. In 2010, it was given its own appellation. Universally, Soumard has been held up as the benchmark producer for the appellation. Classic Grenache character in that it's got that lovely sort of sweet red fruit, slightly maybe to the darker end of red fruit here. Elegance as well as that classic Grenache character over to your customers. It's a really food-friendly wine. Let's have a taste of their Les Jalets, which is their Crozes Hermitage cuvée. The quality of the wines has really been on the increase, just like it has in Saint-Joseph and in Cornas and other Northern Rhone appellations. And there's a lot of people who have pulled their fruit out of the co-op, pulled it back from the negociants, and they're making their own wines there now. So this is a real hotbed of young winemakers that are going places and making really interesting wines. Right, onto Côte Rôtie. So one of the big guns, along with Hermitage, it's probably the most famous of the Rhone's quality-driven appellation. Pick of France's appellations. I mean, there are wines made at Côte Rôtie that are as good as any wine made anywhere else in the world, and the terroir is pretty incredible. There's 275 hectares of it, and it is so steep. The vast majority of it is south-facing. Côte Rôtie is one of the great wine terroirs of the world, there's no doubt about it. Focus on those vintages where you get a sort of a freshness, a bit of a zip to the wine, because then it really brings out the aromatic profile of Côte Rôtie, and really special. And so, even in warm vintages, if it's treated in the right way, especially from the more limestone and schisty soils, you still get freshness, you still get brightness, and I think you see that in this 2009 here. It's a beautiful combination of weight and power with elegance and finesse. On to Baume de Venise, guys, which is the last wine that we've got in our glass. Classic wine styles of the country, and yet very unheralded, largely unknown to export markets. But in Muscat terms, Baume de Venise is the king. It's incredible value for money, and the reason why it's such great value for money is that it's so unfashionable. Of course, it's made from Muscat, and not just Muscat, but Muscat à Petit Grain, which is of the 2 major Muscat varieties used for sweet wines. It is the higher quality variety. The soils tend to be richer in limestone there. Things get a bit sandier as you move to the south. crisp and just very satisfying, especially as an aperitif on a warm day. I think the Rhône really deserves credit for being a combination of history and also the future as well.